Good morning. Good morning, everybody. And welcome to another edition of Mindset Monday. I'm happy you're here. Happy you're joining. Good morning to everybody jumping in. How is your Monday, people? Throw me a message in the comments. I see a lot of Instagram people jumping on. Do I have any Facebook people in here? Can you guys hear me? You never know. You never know. Today is hey Sam. Okay, all right. We have both platforms working in tandem. I love it. You guys, today the topic is preparation. And preparation, the key to navigating change and embracing success in your businesses. And so, in the face of talking about preparation for change, I thought I would change my environment and move to a different room to embrace change. And so, here I am in my living room and, changing it up. And I think sometimes we need to change it up in all fronts, on all fronts of our life, to regather inspiration, to keep our motivation going. That a lot of times complacency happens when things are just constantly the same, right? So change is good. Change can also be hard. And because we know that there is one thing that's constant in life, which is change, I thought that I would talk about preparation today because preparation is a really important piece of not only our life and preparing for what's to come, right? But also in our business to prepare for the inevitable. And sometimes we don't even know what the inevitable is. But I think that being in business for a little bit, we can project what some of the inevitables could be. And I also think that preparation is a key in having a little bit, being able to have a little bit more grace in the face of change. So, all right. So today we're going to talk about preparation for change, preparation for the unknown, preparation for success. Did I say sex? Hey, we can prepare for that too. I love it. God, I wonder what's on my mind today. All right, guys. Oh my God, that's so funny. All right. Our mindset matters when we are talking about preparation and when we're talking about change. Our mindset matters 110%. So we all know that things can change in the blink of an eye, whether it's a new trend, whether it's team members leaving, whether it's new people coming in, whether it's preparing for education, whatever it is, in a snap, things can change. And I can think back to one of the biggest changes in my business that was a defining moment for me to sit in more preparation around my business, more forecasting, forecasting around trend setting, forecasting around not just trends, but what is going on in business in our industry, forecasting what that could mean for our specific business. So I want to share with you this defining moment that happened to me. And I've been in business for over 32 years. We just celebrated our 32nd year anniversary in July. And so I think that this event, I'm going to call it, happened probably, I might have been in business for 5 or 6 years. And I, at the time, was just starting to move away from doing hair full time. And I hired a manager and I had an education director. And the manager that I happened to hire, I met through a distributor friend of mine who was looking to move here from the UK. And we just met and it just felt like fireworks and we got along great. And I helped him come out here with his, visa and green card and all that stuff. And so he became my manager because I wanted to start stepping away and working on my business as opposed to in my business. And then at the same time, I had an education director, and they were both haircutters at the time because we're specialized in our salon. And I probably between the two of them, they were probably doing, I don't know, I'm going to say 80 clients a week, probably between the two of them. They were busy. I had over time stepped away from doing hair at all. I was working on really our business and what that was going to look like. And we were busy. This is in my very first salon. We were in 1,000 square feet. I think I had probably 7 or 8 employees at the time. And I'll never forget, one day one of my clients came in and she said, "Oh my gosh, I had the most odd experience." And I said, "Well, what was that?" And she said, "I ran into these two people, names to remain unknown. I ran into these two people at a coffee shop and saw them working on a blueprint for a salon." What? I don't know if you've ever had an experience where your heart literally drops out of your body and you're just like, "Oh my God, what do you mean?" And so the more research I did, the more investigation I did, the more I found out, and I found out that they indeed, these two, my manager that I had brought over from the UK, was a part of my family, and my education director were planning on opening a salon down the street, which they did, and it was devastating. It was completely a devastating situation for me, not only because of the betrayal that I felt, and I think sometimes for us that's like a really hard thing to get over, is this betrayal piece, but it was also, I hadn't been doing hair and there were so many clients that needed to be handled, and so it completely uprooted what my day-to-day was for me to come in, start taking clients again, become the educational director again, become the manager again. And it was a complete lifestyle change. And after I got through the trauma of this unexpected change, not prepared for it, had no idea it was coming, completely uprooted everything. Why was it a defining moment? Well, it was a defining moment because it was traumatic to me and to the company, to the morale of the business, to the clients. I mean, it just was like the way it happened. And it was hard. I am not going to lie. It was hard to get over. And I don't know if you guys in the course of your business have ever felt something that felt like, "Oh my God, this is a defining moment. This is giant. This isn't about, I have one person leave. This is like an event." And I remember being devastated, and I would be driving to work each day and I would just try to stop the tears. I would just be crying on the way to work. Then I'd have to get myself together. And finally, I remember after a couple of weeks of going in with puffy eyes and just trying to figure out the new normal, and just, I was so gutted. I remember saying to myself on the way to work one day, I said to myself, "Do you want to stay bitter? Or do you want to get better?" I thought, can I just be bitter for about another week? Then I promise universe I'll get better, Once I embraced the change that was upon me, that I was not prepared for, I embraced getting back in there and teaching. I embraced getting back in there and doing the day-to-day management. And boy, did I learn a lot. I learned A, who the people were that were there for me. I learned B, that I wasn't prepared for any of this to happen. How could I be? How could anybody be? Well, you could be, but I didn't think anybody could be prepared for something like that. Because I was naive in my early days, thinking that the people that started with me, because I had pretty good retention, the people that started with me were going to end with me. And that is a myth that I told myself. when we know the course of our industry, that people come, some people stay a while, some people don't stay a while. And I think for us to tell ourselves something different is doing ourselves a disservice. So when we talk about preparation for change, I want to talk about preparation for change. I want to talk about preparation for the unknown, and then preparation for success. So, understanding that change is a constant. So let's talk about the preparation for change. Understanding that change is a constant in our lives and in our business. And from ever evolving trends to client expectations, change is inevitable. And how do we prepare for something that we don't know is coming? Well, one of the things that I ask myself now when a change happens that I wasn't prepared for is, how could you have not been prepared for that? So if you're new in the industry or a new owner, there are new things going to be happening all the time. You're like, I didn't even know this was a thing. But if you've got some years under your belt and you know the trends of our industry and you know like what things happen on the daily, you should be asking yourself, how did I not expect this? How is it that I didn't know that this was going to happen? How did I choose to not look over here down this path? And that is what I want to challenge you with today. I want to challenge you with being prepared for change, even change that you may not know is going to happen. And that preparation can come in a few forms. That preparation can come in forecasting meetings, which we have all the time, which are, what are things that are going on in the industry trends? And I'll tell you, another defining moment is when Salon Suites came to be. And for people that live here on the West Coast, more so than the Midwest and the East Coast, which now they're feeling, but Salon Suites started here on the West Coast. And there were mass exoduses in employment-based businesses because of suites, and rental became a huge thing. And as we saw that the suites, this is just another example, were trending, we started having strategy meetings on what we needed to do to get ahead of that. And what we needed to do was make sure that we were hiring and training so that we were always prepared. If people did choose to leave, we would still be able to take care of our business. So that's just like one example. The example that I shared with you earlier about my two people that quit, that opened a salon down the street from me, that were with me for, 7 and 8 years. My biggest learning there is that I had one manager, which rightly so. I was in a small location. We were doing $1 million a year out of that 1,000 square feet. And it was busy, but there was me and a manager. I didn't really feel I needed another manager. And then we had one educator. But what I took away from that, and that doesn't mean everybody will take away this, I thought, I never want to be left high and dry. So how can I prepare to have a manager and assistant manager, to have an educator in my cutting department, an educator in my color department, an assistant educator in cutting, and an assistant educator in color? So there is always somebody coming up the ranks. And this should be nothing that is foreign to you to hear that we should always be hiring. I have people ask me like, should I be hiring? I don't need anybody right now. Well, you might not need anybody now, but if you were in preparation mindset, you will know in order to A, grow your company, and to B, continue to be sustainable, you have to have people in the queue ready to roll. And if you ask yourself, am I open 7 days a week? Have I split shifted the schedule? If the answer is no to just both those things, then you can be hiring and training and getting more people up and going for the sustainability and the long haul of your business. It's something that you know in your mind and that should be happening constantly. Look, when we talk about preparing for the unknown, and the unknown happens, and these things happen, and they are uncomfortable, to say the least. But also, is it not where the most learning happens? When something shitty happens and you are left feeling confused, empty, like you want to quit, it is where we need to dig our heels in and re-find our way, isn't it? Re-find our new path. It is in the hardest moments that we dig our heels in the hardest. So I challenge you to this too. Can we dig our heels in now? Even if there's no drama, if there's nothing going on, can we dig our heels in now? And can we have preparation and strategy meetings? And the meetings that you guys, we should all be having right here and right now is, when are we going to be at the beauty schools next? How many people are we going to need to be hiring? I was just working with one of my clients this last week, and they said, I want to hire 2 people and have them trained by the end of this year. I'm like, okay, great. So how many people, I said, do you want to end up with? Well, I want to end up with the 2 people. I said, well, don't hire the 2 people. You need to hire 3 or 4 people. Then by the end of the year, you'll end up with the 2 people. And I'm not saying that to be negative. I'm saying that because I live in reality. How many of you guys know, throw something in the comments, that when you hire people, it's not always the perfect fit. And they might be there a month, they might be there 2 weeks, they might be there 3 months. But am I hallucinating when I say this? That when you hire people, especially in the beginning, you might have 50% of those people retained. Throw me a comment. Am I off base here? So I said to my client, and this is based on my experience of over 32 years. I'm not some newbie in the industry that's like coming up with theories around how you should be running your business. This is 32 years of reality of having 3 locations, 80 staff members. This is the reality of how we have to be thinking, you guys. If you need to grow your business and you need more people behind the chair, you need to be hiring probably 25 to 50% more people than you need to end up with. Yes. So I said to them, oh, you want to end up with 2 people? Well, you need to hire 3 or 4. They looked at me like, what do you mean? I said, well, 1 or 2 will leave. And they started laughing. I said, no, I'm serious. And it's nothing that you're doing wrong. This is why we date before we get married, right? Or we date before we're in some we decide on a long-term situation, because we're dating to see if this is the person, this is my partner, this is my one. It might take 25 people to figure out your one. And maybe that one even lasts a year or 2 years, right? So again, we have to think of our businesses that if we want to grow, we have to prepare for the inevitable, which is we have people that might move. We have people that might quit the industry. We have people that might say, F you, I'm out of here. I don't know what the reasons are, but you know what the reasons are because you've been hearing them for years. So when we talk about preparing, I want you to have a mindset that these things are going to happen. And I want to challenge you to dig your heels in now and say, if they were happening, what would I be doing? Because what does the inevitable mean? It means it's got to happen at some point. It might not be tomorrow. It might not be this year. It might not be next year. But to grow our companies, to be sustainable, to even be able to maintain where we are, it's kind of the same mindset of when we're educating our staff on client retention. You're going to have some clients that stick with you forever. You're going to have some clients that are here for a season. You're going to have some clients that are here for, one appointment. So we have to constantly be building our clientele because we have a 10% attrition rate, which is a loss rate. Always. People moving, people dying, people whatever, start doing their own hair, whatever the situation is. And if we're not preparing for that and constantly working on growing our clientele, then we end up doing less clients than we were doing last year. And a lot of people right now were doing less clients than they were doing last year. Why? Well, either they had staff leave. That's a number one reason why we're doing less clients this year than we were last year. We were not preparing to have somebody take those clients. We were not preparing, building our book aggressively for more clientele, pounding the pavement. Again, when we talk about preparation for the unknown, we know that the unknown is going to happen. It's not just about preparation for the salon or your company, it's preparation for your staff. They should know that change is inevitable. Things are going to happen. Prices go up in how we run a business, and we have to have price increases. Inevitable. If not, you're dying. You are. If you are not keeping up with the increase in prices, you have a decrease in profit. If you have a decrease in profit consistently and you're not profitable, that's when people close their business because they have a hard time with sustainability and growth and profitability. And I will say this once and I will say it 100 times. I did not open my business to be a not-for-profit company. It's not a nonprofit organization. This needs to be a profitable company. And so there are things that we have to do in order to create the sustainability and the profitability of our company. And that is to start preparing now for success. And how do we prepare for success? Preparation isn't just about avoiding failure. It's about setting yourself up for success. And I mentioned this earlier that, I want you guys to have strategy meetings on change, on what's to come, on if this happened, then what are we going to do and what should we be doing now? Because this will happen. So how are we projecting out the changes that are going to be happening so we can stay in the ball game? To be in the business 32 years, to be in the business 10 years, to be in the business 5 years and you want to get to 10 and 20 and 30, you have to have, and really, I feel, I don't like to say you should, I don't like that word should, but it would be great to have agility, flexibility, the ability to pivot at any given time and you're still landing on your feet. That takes preparation. When somebody comes and tells you that they're not happy or they are not following the protocols of your business, they're coming in late, they're not showing up to education, they are talking smack in the back room. Well, preparation means that I have already prepared for systems and conversations about how to deal with employees like that. That's also preparation, having your organizational pieces down, having your operational pieces down. What are the guidelines of your company, the vision, the culture that you can go back and you've already prepped this. So when you need to have a conversation with someone, you're not like, what should I be doing? And I have to tell you, you guys are, if you're online here, you're online people, right? You are on these owners forums. You are seeing so many owners. Oh my God, what should I do because this happened? With 25 text message screenshots. As you're looking through those now, what I want you to think to yourself is, if this owner was prepared in their operational practices, in their financial practices, in their educational practices, in their leadership practices, okay, in their culture practices, if there was preparation, would we be seeing that there's an issue right now going on online that we're asking an entire community of 3,000 people to help me with? I know we can't get everything done and prepare for everything, but can we prepare for a lot of things? If we can prepare ourselves for change, And we can prepare, that means our mindset, prepare our mindset. If we can prepare our staff that change is inevitable, we're going to be hiring people. And this is why, right? People are going to come, people are going to go. We have to be hiring people, right? I want you to be prepared for the daily things that go on in our industry. Success is not a destination. You've heard this a million times. It's a journey. It's a journey of pitfalls. It's a journey of events that happen that change the trajectory of how we do business. I've had 2 of those when I had my main people go down the street and open a salon. I had this when the salon suites became giant, especially in Southern California, and people were involved in these mass exoduses from their businesses. Those are 2 events that changed how I think about preparation. And I'm not going to say that over 32 years, I haven't had other events. I mean, the pandemic was an event nobody could have prepared for. Nobody. But while we were in the pandemic, we could have been preparing for when we're outside the pandemic. So that word preparation comes in again, right? While my staff were out floating in pools, I was every single day figuring out how to have a comeback. And in California, we were closed for almost 6 months total. So every time we had to shut down again, I was in preparation, working and prepping for a strong comeback. And so I don't know, I can't say a pandemic's going to happen again. I don't know that anybody knew or knows if that's ever going to happen again. And that's huge. But I want you today to think about, when you guys get off this live, my mission today and my message is that a lot of the things that feel traumatic to us don't need to be if we're working on these said things ahead of time. Working on our goals, working on our growth, working on what it takes to have this growth. How much is every person bringing in every single month? How many people do I need? How many shifts do I need? Strategically working towards what you want to see for your company. Dig your heels in now, not when something traumatic happens, when we have to dig our heels in. Dig your heels in now and see what that feels like. We don't have a lot of months left. What are we on? We're going on month 9. We're going into September. You know, we have 4 months left till the end of the year. What do you want to see happen in your company? And what do you see? What changes need to happen? So maybe now you're preparing for your kickoff event in 2025 so that you can start projecting and forecasting what's going on in the industry, trends in styling, and how can we prepare our staff to constantly be in a change mindset. So when change does happen, it's not traumatic for them. Go ahead and throw me some comments in here, whether you're on Facebook or on Instagram, and let me know an area that you feel you need to prepare a little bit more for. Throw me a comment in there. Where is your preparation that you feel, if I prepare for this now, I won't be so blindsided? So where is that? So let me see some comments before we close out for the day. Play with me. Come on. Where are some areas that you feel if you prepare now, you will be better off in the long run? Let's see. Let me scroll through and see. Do I have any comments yet? Come on, guys. Get your fingers typing. Okay. So Brenna, budget for a manager and an assistant manager. I love that. I love that. Yeah, that is something to work on. Make sure that your budget is lined up. So you want to make sure that your front desk and your management is not exceeding 8% of your total sales. So that should be something to keep in mind. Client and staff retention. Yes, Kathy. Oh my God, absolutely. I mean, that is that's how we have sales, right? Is when we have our client retention and our staff retention. So Kathy, maybe it's time to dig your heels in now and say, how is it that I can do my clients, make sure that I'm building and I have retention here. And then what do I need to do to build staff? Yes, you want to work on retention 100%, but you also want to you want to start working on building that staff in case something happens. So, Brenna, you said, do I promote from within? Yes, I promote from within. Yes, I promote from within, and I'm assuming you're talking about promoting to a manager. Yes, and maybe next week I'll do a live on things to look for when you're promoting from within, because a lot of times when we want somebody so badly, we have rose-colored glasses on. It's kind of like we choose a partner because we have all these endorphins going on, and then we're like, oh, I take off my rose-colored glasses and it's like, this isn't the person I thought it was. And so I want to make sure that we're hiring on, or you're promoting from within, based on reality of skill set, because I've worked with so many of my clients that have promoted from within and it didn't work out, but I have always promoted from within, and it has worked out. And so maybe next week I'm going to make a note to myself to talk about that. Sam, beginning of the week check-ins with the staff. Yeah, great. And again, preparation for what's next for them so they can be preparing. So these are some really great comments. I love when you guys are jumping in, because then I can kind of speak to where you are instead of me. I'm just making my stuff up every week, hoping that it resonates with somebody. So, all right, you guys, it looks like our 30-minute Mindset Monday is coming to a close. I do hope that today, resonated with you at some point, and that you are going to dig in and prepare for your success and prepare for any unknown things coming your way, so you have a little bit more peace of mind. So I love that you guys are here. Thank you so much for playing, for participating, and I will see you next week. Yes, you're welcome, Kathy. Appreciate you guys. Have a great week. See you soon. See you on the flip side. Bye. Bye, guys.